This is your daily market review for Sunday, October 8th, 2023. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max, GDXJ Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your weekend market review for Sunday, October 8th, 2023. Hopefully you're having a great weekend. A lot to talk about as we come into a big week with the CPI, PPI, and the reaction to Friday's action and the jobs numbers. First, let's start it off about what's going on in the Middle East. It's very sad. I mean, either way, who knows the resolution? But at this point, the biggest thing that how it's going to affect the markets overall, in my opinion, is that oil will probably naturally rise. If this is the start of something, then oil spike might sustain. If it's not, keep an eye on it. Does oil stay up? That'll be, in my opinion, the biggest thing that you'll need to watch, because CPI, PPI are coming out. Oil and gas prices rose going into this, and when they're observing the data. So, I mean, the PPI and CPI should be higher than they're expecting. Either way, it's a volatile market. It's not going to be easy. When you get oversold, at times you get these big pops, and they continue lower. Again, we'll show you all the things that we're thinking. Either way, define your risk, have stops, be thoughtful, know what's best for you. If you're new to the channel, want to join the Discord room, link is in the description below. Interesting in how some of the C-suiters and Apple are selling. If you're new to the channel, again, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I appreciate it. Check out the Back to Basics educational trading videos. They're also on my website, thetradingagent.com. More beginner stuff at the top, and then it evolves as you get into more advanced videos. Also, too, check out Interactive Brokers. Here's my link for referral. If you're concerned about your brokerage going out of business, which you should, Schwab, be aware. You don't want your money to get stuck. Trust me, you do not want your money to be stuck in survivorship, holdership, whatever they do. And then next thing you know, the puts, calls, stocks you have get wiped out. Also, too, Goldman Sachs, it's 5.4. I can't remember that. All right, 5.4% yield. Well worth it. Promotion code. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, always reach out. Links in the description below. If you want to talk, again, 30 minutes. Take any amount of time you need from me for Calendly, and 30 is the minimum. Love to help people out. Also follow on Twitter. This is where we're always posting what's going on. So Fed Watch Tool, 72% chance of a pause coming up in, I think it's 2 weeks. Yep, 2 weeks. Bitcoin stuck under the 28,000. We said keep an eye on it. Oil, as of right now, held support. Now we know over the weekend what's going on. By the time you get this video is recorded before the futures open. We'll see what happens here. I mean, keep an eye on this 80 area. Natural gas definitely picked up. Not surprised. Not surprised going into the winter a little bit. As we've talked about, one of the things that I'd keep an eye on with natural gas is obviously geopolitical conflict. That's going to be a big one. The dollar, had been on fire, right? Literally on fire. Fills the gap, chopping around. We'll see what happens, because geopolitically, typically people buy the dollar. Do you really want to hold foreign currencies? I mean, people, if there's debt destruction, denominations, do they really want to play in that pool? TLT, again, watch for volatility. That's all we can talk about. People buying bonds down here. I mean, somebody knew something was coming potentially with this geopolitical action. But here's the thing, right? We've seen big volume before, and then it chops out. So just, again, define your risk if you really want to buy bonds. I don't know if we're there yet, because, again, I don't know if the Fed's... Now, the market's pricing in rate hikes, right? Like, that's where it might be, to me, the best time to just wait for the Feds to announce their last hike, and then maybe the market will... Or pause, if we get to this pause and just go watch the Fed fund futures, and then you can see, all right, like the first cut isn't anticipated for June of 2024, which we know that's not the case. They'll probably be cutting later this year, potentially, if things get bad enough. But just know probably we're in the bottoming area range. Just let it play out. The VIX pulled back, hit some, got above the channel, holding the 200-day. Interesting. Again, now watch on Monday. We'll see what happens. Like, again, I think you probably have some futures gap down. After that, we'll see. The VIX could not get over the 108. Interesting. SPY rallied on the jobs number. Again, if you look deep into it, it was all about adding temporary jobs. Not good, y'all. Not good. All about temporary jobs. Full-time jobs were actually negative. And I talk about this in downtrends. Sometimes you get these big spikes up. Keep an eye on this, right? I mean, could it be a 4-day range? I don't know. Could it be just like a 1-day thing, 2-day thing, 2-day? It's tough to know. Either way, it's more about what I would say is like amplitude, like percentage wise. Remember, think about like rubber band theory. 20-day, in my opinion, maybe 433 max. Remember, we broke the trend. Now we're back testing it. There's major resistance here. Could it be more than a 1-day thing? Potentially, but not now with the futures. We'll see. Up. So question mark. Put that in your notes. Multi-day or fade. And if it's a fade, then this was just a multi-day range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, you can actually say this whole range here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10-day range. Again, I love to take notes as we do this because this is what I'm doing. Like, this is how I do things. QQQ. Been holding up pretty well, right? 20-day, right? 50-day, fail. Or no, I mean 100-day and 50-day almost all at one. I mean, it's going to be really hard, in my opinion, to get over that. Just keep that in mind. If it does, it's probably going to be temporary. IWM, which has been lagging hard. I mean, we talked about it. Just getting down here needs a hold. I mean, it's trying to. Hits the 8 and 10-day rejection. DIA, same kind of thing. Been lagging hard. Multi-day range. Bounces. Wicks over the 8 and 10-day and closes right back at it. Keep an eye on it. Gold. Now, this is interesting again because we've said stay away for a while. And we talked about last couple days. I said, well, the action's contracting. You know, we're tightening up. Is it possible we're due for a bounce? Will people buy gold on the geopolitical stuff? Potentially. But will it get faded? That's the question. Again, I mean, I'm still waiting for the Fed pivot. I just don't trust this stuff. And then, because again, history repeats. It's the same thing. Silver, same kind of thing. They don't look good, but they're oversold near term. Could they get a bounce? If that's how you want to trade it, feel free. Again, miners, please be careful with miners. They have liquidity risk. They have market risk. They're not like gold and silver. They can get absolutely pounded when the market gets curb stomped. Now, we talked about, you know, them tightening up. Maybe it's due for a little bounce. Maybe it get back to the 27 area. That's what I'd be watching for. GDXJ, same kind of thing. Leading down, makes lower lows, breaks below it. Can it bounce back up? I mean, maybe 32, 33. All of these names, again, I personally would just let them go because I think there's better trades to come. But at some point, these names will be on our watch list to buy. AEM, I mean, this made a new low and then comes right back. It's tough to say. And again, this is where we talk about Newmont leading down, makes new lows. All right, rallies back, but it just doesn't really. Just like rubber band, man. And it's just, it seems like it's going to be in the chop cycle. That's my opinion. And if the market goes velocity down quick, miners are not safe. I'm just telling you that, not until the Fed's pivot and liquidity is coming in. Remember, the Feds are draining liquidity. I repeat, the Feds are trying to drain liquidity as fast as possible. Taiwan Sen, we talked about the 20-day. Nice little gap up now here back into this blue zone. I mean, if you see 91, I'll just write that on there. Again, I just got to take notes. You got to take notes. Even more notes. Again, I need a bigger piece of paper. That's what I just realized. TSM 91 plus. You got the 50 and 200-day cross. I'd be watching that because this thing is, I mean, if there's global conflict, they're the first one on the docket for issues, right? Micron. Because also, too, remember, I'm going to drop all these on Twitter later. And so I like to have all the notes. Not surprised it bounced. XDiv today. Interesting. Market higher than you want to. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think anywhere 70 plus makes sense. And I know people say, oh, it's over the 20-day. All right, well, the bigger it chops, the bigger it flops. That's how I look at it. AM Dizzle. We talked about AMD holding the 200-day. Bounce maybe up to the 50-day. All right, you're over it. Got to give it credit. Next would probably be that 100-day area. Like a retest of this range near 110. If we get there, we get there. If we don't, we don't. Just be surprised. Don't bring a ruler to trading. NVIDIA, what do we talk about? Multi-day range. Could it backtest the channel? Well, you got it. Again, remember, it's all probabilities. If someone's sitting here selling you certainty, man, you got to be careful. So I'd be watching this area. I would not be surprised if it trapped up. Intel, same thing, kind of held and it's at the 20-day. I mean, all these things, they're not going to survive. It's just how big do they bounce, right? SMH, I mean, you've seen traps. Man, oof. SMH, again, I saw this as just verming, like the 150-day. You got to love that. You just got to love that coming together. I think that's an easy spot to short. Now, again, just define your risk. If someone, like people are trolling, like, oh, you missed Friday's action. It's like, okay. I mean, did we expect a rally? No. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it didn't, but I just think it's one of those things where it's hard to predict every day correctly. Come on, pretty good. Adobe, 20-day, 50-day cross. Could it fill the gap? I don't know. Apple, nice little rally up into the 170s. Now, again, we thought 20-day, but here we go. We're just back at the support zone. Maybe the 50-day, maybe. I mean, I'd be watching anything 177.50 to 179 plus. So, I mean, just take notes. That's what I'm doing. Set your alarms. If you get stopped out, you get stopped out. And you reload. That's part of trading. Amazon, man, if it gets 130s, I mean, just that 100-day channel, that looks like a delicious spot, right? The short. That's just my opinion. And again, some names look better than others for certain actions. Some you have to be a little more patient on. CRM, not surprised it bounced here, but could it just fade back? And again, sometimes people don't realize, like, just because it's a day, could it do something painful later? Guggenheim, not surprised though. When the market held, it tried to pop. I mean, is it going to get over 139 plus? I mean, I think you can take stabs up here with defined risk. Very frustrating, but again, that's part of trading. Like, if it's always going to be easy, then you're playing the wrong game. Meta, this is where it gets real. I was just looking at this over the weekend. I was like, oh boy, head and shoulders, knees and toes. Right? I mean, I'd keep an eye on that. That looks juicy, juicy J. Microsoft, again, a lot of these names had some oversoldness. Here you go. Right? 100-day, boom, gift. Right? I mean, I just think that one looks pretty, they all look really good for shorting. Because again, you want to short pops. You don't want to short these oversold selling conditions. I always tell people that, like, do not short the lows. Be careful. NASDAQ 20-day broke the channel. Watch it. MicroStrategy bounced, which again, it's interesting because it's just kind of following the market. I'd be watching this 150-day cross. Netflix hit the 200-day. We talked about this being cooked. I mean, could it bop to the 20-day? I mean, again, this name's been just absolutely ravaged. And so who knows? You got to give credit here for Roblox. But again, I just don't see it really getting over this 30, 33 area. But we talked about it playing up for the bounce. Tesla, again, drop prices again. I mean, that looks pretty toppish, y'all. I mean, I'm not going to say that it can't go higher, but 3-day range, 261 plus. I mean, it looks like there's a top on that. X, as we talked about, you got to leave it alone. It's going to get bought out. I mean, it's just, if you want to buy it, I mean, I just don't know what the premium they're going to get. Nucor, got a lot of these material names were kind of sketchy. I mean, 120 days has been chopping. Caterpillar finally got a rally after dropping, hit the 0.382, filled some gaps. I'd be watching 268, right? 268. Nucor, oh, sorry, not Nucor. FedEx, one that we're short, holding the 20 days. Just, it looks like a double top. One top, two top, three top. No. VALE, some of these names again, just chopping around. Global growth name, not looking good. Arrow, we talked about the 15s potentially being the trend line and holding. Okay, cool. I mean, again, if you wanted to trade these, that's your prerogative. I just don't know how much upside. I'd look at the 17 area. CCJ, we talked about this being the top. You had one top, two top. Now you get, remember, the first drop gets bought. I mean, maybe the 20-day, maybe it's just channel. I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, if you really want to dig into that, go right ahead. Ag names, ammonium prices are rising. What's interesting, I don't know, how to think about what that might mean for these near term, but they look very choppy and sloppy. Mosaic, not holding up so well. NTR, let them come down. So we got earnings and financials this week. If you didn't know, at the end of the week, you got BlackRock, Citi, JP Morgan. So keep an eye on, XLF oversold bounce, but I don't know if you're going to get a ton more at this point, right? I mean, maybe the confluence. Like, I mean, I'm just putting an alarm at 33.80 plus. I would watch this out of that area. JP Morgan, again, going into earnings, please be careful. Chopping around, I mean, I don't know, 50-day. I mean, at this point, you might as well let these, like, don't assume anything at this point. Like, if you took profits or you're got long-term positions, manage your risk. I mean, you don't know. Goldman Sachs broke the channel, right? Bouncing around. Could it fill back to the 50-day? I don't know. Or 20-day. Carry didn't really have much of a bounce on Friday. Interesting, but this thing looks just really bad. XBI, we talked about. Baby Bio is just getting burned, and it's like, okay, stair step down. All right. I mean, this looks bad. Call it what it is, right? Like IYT, we talked about the transports really needing to hold down here. I guess they're holding, but did they really look that good? I mean, you would think this thing would have a nice big green candle, but it just kind of looked like a new low chop around, right? Sorry. XHB, housing again. oversold, but chopping, not really looking that good, y'all. So I just call it what it is. Let's get into solar and gas, and I'll end it there. Solar, again, we talked about this stuff has just so been pounded, but you need bounces to pop. I mean, I don't know if you'll get them. Sedge, all these names, they look so bad. ENPH. I mean, they have earnings come up at some point. First Solar, we talked about maybe holding here. Any bounce, I would think somewhere in like the 167 would be an absolute easy short. We talked about HYG, right? Corporate debt broke the lows, now chopping around. I mean, this is tough to know, y'all. Again, near term, I don't know. Longer term, I think it's obvious that we're going to go lower. USO, okay, over, whatever. Well, you'll know coming up, right? You're going to know coming up here pretty soonly this afternoon, maybe tomorrow morning, what's happening. Natural gas, nice little bounce. Okay, give it credit where credit's due. Not really paying attention. XOP, again, little bounce here. Exxon buying PXD. Problem is that Exxon has been known to buy at the tops. And what did Exxon do on the Friday? It was down. People weren't, again, instead of saying short ExxonMobil, but we'll see what happens here at this point. Occidental, any of these names, I feel like I'm major bounces. They're shorts. But well, also you have to keep in touch with what oil is doing. So again, if you're not in any of these right now, like myself, let them go. Let's see what plays out, right? Be patient. No rush. No rush to do anything. Please. Valero, oil and gas name, right? Chopping around at the 200-day. Or sorry, gasoline names don't really look so good. MPC, same kind of thing. Like these gas names just kind of chopping around at low. Obviously PXD. I don't know what the takeout target price was, but here you go. I mean, it's not that much of a premium from where it's at. Oops, I don't know. All right, EQT and Flex LNG again. EQT with natural gas popping, cool, coming back up. I mean, I would be watching again this the 44 area, and Flex LNG, which has been just kind of chopping around. Again, we like the dividend yield on this. We're hoping in time to get this at a much lower price. If you have any questions, again, please reach out. Use the Calendly link. I appreciate all the love, support, the generous donations. I don't mind criticism, honestly. People love to criticize, and it's like, I can't be right every day. You're not going to be right every day. Stock Traders Almanac had a bear on it Friday. You assume that's what it probably was. At the morning, at the open, it was down. This kind of is what it is. If you're frustrated, mad about trading, again, you can't be mad at the markets. We talked about always in doubt, or not in doubt, but market oversold slowly due to bounce. Okay, got its bounce. We'll see how much stronger it'll be with the war stuff. So if you have any questions, again, reach out, drop a comment below. I appreciate all the love, support. Check us out on RUMBLE as well, posting there. And yeah, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. Again, the real estate market is a little sketchy. Talk to you later. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.